also want to share with you today a beautiful folk story from Dartmoor called The Tulip Bed. Now, I'm not sure how old this story is, but it has been around for a very long time and has been passed down through generations. So, where do we start? Well, there are many myths and legends around Dartmoor, and many of them involve pixies. Now, in folklore, there are good pixies, and of course, there are rather naughty ones. But today, I really want to talk and think about the good pixies of Dartmoor. So the story goes, long ago, in the middle of Dartmoor, on the edge of one of the small villages, there stood a little cottage in which lived an old woman. Now, she was very friendly and caring to all the animals and the birds. And in fact, it is said that many birds owed their very survival during the cold winter months to this very kind old lady. Now, the old woman was said to have had a beautiful garden full of the most wonderful, colourful flowers. And she loved this garden and she tended to it very, very carefully. Now, one night, just as the old woman was dropping off to sleep, she thought she heard some beautiful music coming from the garden, and she looked out of the window. And to her amazement, she saw a number of little tiny pixies dancing in the garden in the moonlight. Now, strangely enough, the old woman did not feel frightened, and she also noticed that whilst the music was playing, the tulips in her garden were swaying in time to the music. As her eyes adjusted to the light outside, she realised that lying in the cup of each tulip was a tiny pixie baby, fast asleep, being rocked in its beautiful, colourful cradle. She was so happy and honoured to think that the pixies were enjoying her garden and sharing her garden and celebrating her garden. And she decided that she would always have wonderful tulips available for those pixies. Now, after many happy years, the old woman did eventually pass away, and the cottage was taken over, rented by one of the other villagers. Now, the new occupant had a little bit of a different approach to the garden. That occupant felt that flowers were a waste of time and space, and dug up the lawn and the gardens and the flowers, and the beautiful flower garden was no more. Now, the pixies were very upset about that, and according to legend, they were very cross at losing their beautiful space to dance and a wonderful place for the baby pixies to live inside the tulips. So, what happened? Well, the pixies vowed that nothing else would grow in that garden. In fact, it became quite empty and desolate. However, the story does have a happy ending, and there are many different endings that I've read, but the one that I read that I really like is that eventually that occupant moved out and the pixies once again sowed the beautiful flowers and tulips for all their friends to enjoy. And to commemorate, remember that wonderful kind old woman who helped all the animals, birds and fairy folk. Isn't that a lovely story? Love this idea of this fairy magic. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.